And this is Ken Kreitzer for the Iona College Basketball Report here with my friend Kevin Hamilton, Iona College Hall of Famer, class of '80. And Kevin, you were up in Albany for the championship game. I was there on Sunday. And it simply, I think on Monday was one of the best days, if not the best days, in Iona College basketball history, with both the men's team and the women's team winning the MAC conference titles. What was the day like for you on Monday?
Ken, first of all, I had the honor of calling both games for Iona Insider. It was very, very exciting, and I'm a proud alumnus today that both teams crossed the finish line the way that we really expected them to and hoped that they would. And I'm even more proud of how the young ladies and young men reacted and handled themselves very, very adult-like and professional and gracious in winning. Made me even more proud of the two teams that we have here.
Well, absolutely, and maybe we'll start with the women's game that was played in the afternoon on Monday, and they were playing Quinnipiac, the number 1 seed. Iona came in the number 2 seed, but on senior day, Quinnipiac came in here to the Heinz Center and fairly decisively beat Iona. The team looked really down after that loss, but in really just over a week's time, they recuperated, came up with a new strategy. Tell us a little bit about just the difference in the two games and the Iona women's team coming out with a 57-41 win. It wasn't even a close game.
Well, we spoke about this before. Senior day is a tough day for players to play. It's very emotional, and it kind of throws you off of your game. So I would say, and I think Coach Gotze would agree with me, that Iona didn't play their best game that day. And credit to Quinnipiac, who played very well against the Gales here at Iona. What changed? A couple of things changed. I think first and foremost, Iona really focused on the defensive end, specifically with Joy and Dupree doing a great job rebounding the basketball. And then also I think Iona played much more aggressive than they did here against Quinnipiac offensively, with Marina leading the way, doing just a spectacular job, getting to wherever she wanted to get to on the floor, creating shots for others, and then making some just great moves to the basket for herself. So those two things had a lot to do with it. Much tougher defense and better rebounding, holding Quinnipiac to one shot, and then being very, very aggressive on the offensive end.
Well, Marina Lizarazu from Spain, I had a chance to chat with her when the team came back on Tuesday. 19 points, and the difference was on senior day, she was driving the lane and getting stopped defensively quite a few times, not able to finish the plays, but really came up with a big game, and then Joy Adams again, 11 points and 13 rebounds. What a terrific season she had. She was beaming when they came back on Tuesday at the press conference, and we actually have an interview with the entire team that we did. Just go to our page, Iona College Basketball Report, here on Facebook, and also our page, Sons Legion Radio, and we have the entire interview we did with 10 or 11 members of the team. So really, Coach Gotze really is to be congratulated for being able to have this team prepared for the MAC tournament and to be successful. What stood out in the way Coach Gotze prepared this team?
Well, a few things. Certainly her and her assistant coaches throughout the entire tournament. It wasn't just the Quinnipiac game. It was a tough game against Siena as well. You could tell that they really went back to their playbook and decided, okay, we're going to play the way we play and force other teams to have to stop us. As an example, we talked about Marina and how well she played in these two games. A big factor in her being able to play to her ability was having Gilmore, Robinson, and Lewis knock down shots from the outside, which opened up the lane for Marina to be able to drive much more than she was able to in the first Quinnipiac game. So those other young ladies did their job and played their role. You know, you take the Siena game, Robinson hitting 3 threes in a row. Guess what? They had to cheat towards her, And then 2 baskets after that was Lizarazu being able to get into the lane. So just a total team effort really helped them get to where they wanted to be. From the coaching perspective, they really relied on Joy to do all the other things outside of being a prolific scorer like she was against Siena. Didn't score great against Monmouth, but had 15 rebounds in that game, I believe the last stat was, and eliminated the Quinnipiac bigs from getting second and third shots. So those things really played into the total team effort, and the coaches really emphasized it and made sure that they were able to execute the Iona game plan flawlessly.
Well, congratulations to the women's basketball team from Iona. They're MAC champions. They're going to the NCAA tournament. They'll find out on Monday where they're going and who their opponent will be. Any thoughts on how the women's NCAA tournament sets up?
Well, it's for Iona going for the first time. It'll be nerve-wracking, but a joy. And I would recommend that they go and have fun. It can be very pressurized. You never know who you're going to play. You could end up playing UConn or Notre Dame or South Carolina. It doesn't matter who you play. Just go have some fun and be who you are. I also think that the style of play that Iona has is slightly different than what a lot of these big powers will see. What they're going to have to be prepared for is teams much bigger than them, much more physical than them. But I'll tell you, a lot of these teams are going to walk away very impressed with the Iona guard play that they have, highlighted with Marina and Joy and Ms. Gilmore and Ms. Robinson. So if they play to their ability and have some fun, they should be able to do okay.
Well, actually, I got to the women's NCAA tournament down at Maryland a couple of years ago when Army played there, and boy, it was an exciting day. Good crowd there. A little different when you're Army. You have the chairman of the Joint Chiefs sitting in the stands watching the game. But it was really a neat experience. I know it's going to be just as exciting wherever the Iona women's basketball team gets the opportunity to play in the NCAA tournament. Now, let's go on to the second half of the MAC championship combo. The men's team, which pulled out a gutty win over Monmouth, a game that was fought down to the last shot. But let's start with the two games. Iona got the chance to play on Friday due to their number 2 seed, so they had Saturday off. They beat Canisius on Friday, and then they had to go against kind of the home team, Siena, on Sunday night. Big crowd, 8,000 there. And Jimmy Patzos really was pointing towards this game as an opportunity to move his program ahead. But Iona really played sharp and came out with an 81-70 win. What were your thoughts about the win over Siena?
Well, if you go back to a few segments ago when we spoke and we anticipated that this might be a matchup, I will tell you that Siena was a very good opponent, but the fact that the entire Iona team was ready to play, highlighted by Isaiah Williams coming out and just totally shocking Siena with 17 first-half points and doing all the other things that he does, really set Siena back. It forced them to have to change their game plan a little bit and understand that the rest of the Gale team showed up to play the way that they're capable of playing. And then, as usual, the second half is A.J. English time. He put on a phenomenal performance in the second half, helping to lead the Gales to that victory. But that victory was truly a team effort because before that game, there were some things behind the curtains in the locker room, that occurred with Monmouth coming off the floor, winning the game, and a little taunting of Iona saying, hey, we're in the chip, and, you're not going to beat Siena, et cetera, et cetera. It really fired up the Iona team, and they played extremely hard with a lot of pride and handled the win with a lot of class. So, again, very proud of how the men performed. Total team effort. Aaron Roundtree, you can't say enough. A number of injuries that kind of scared Gale fans with Ibn Muhammad going down and others going down, but they really responded greatly to the coaching and put on a great show to beat the home team.
Yeah, no, we were a little scared for Ibn when he went down in the second half. He had was chasing after a loose ball and got a back spasm and really was in pain. But it was good to see him back on the court Monday night. And a little bruised, a little sore, but he really contributed Monday. Just finishing up on the Siena win, Isaiah Williams had a big game with 23 points and 11 rebounds. And Isaiah is just such a cool player in that he doesn't bring a lot of attention to himself. He doesn't make a lot of noise. He's not talking to people on the court. He's just doing what he does for the team. And it was just great to see. And as you said, A.J. English, 29 points for Iona. And unfortunately, Jordan Washington only got in 6 minutes because he had foul trouble. But Aaron Roundtree picked it up and really had 6 points, but more importantly, 6 rebounds, 4 offensive. And I remember one sequence where he just kept tapping the ball back at the basket, and he was dominating when he was on the offensive boards. And so just a good win. And then and I was on the radio station here Monday morning and talking a little bit about it, and I said these are two teams, Monmouth and Iona, that have attitudes, that have a lot of pride in how they play, and certainly Iona does, because they've been at the top for so many years throughout all of Tim Kluse's coaching years here, and they've been in the title game every year. And I think a lot of that in the senior leadership, we talked to Coach Kluse about that when the team came back on Tuesday, just really demonstrated itself in clutch time in the second half of a close game. And what about that shot A.J. English made with about a minute and a half to go to that short jump shot that really gave Iona a little bit of a lead they needed, a little cushion. And just that's one of those moments that I'm going to remember for forever about Iona basketball, is that shot that A.J. English made to give Iona the lead they needed.
So if we can start from the beginning, we can be very proud of this Iona team. With the incident that happened here at home, there was a lot of question about the type of character that the Iona kids and teams that would have throughout the rest of the year. But that could have been a turning point for this team because they rallied around Coach Kluse and Coach Grasso and the rest of the coaching staff and really understood that the talking is one thing, but you have to play the game. And we were all encouraged with how they played down at Monmouth. And, people said, well, maybe that was a fluke. But you and I know that was not a fluke. Leading up to this particular game, I like most how Iona took care of business because Canisius was not an easy game. Canisius played well, they were formidable, and Iona had to stay focused. Siena, playing against a home team, you knew it was going to be one of those types of contests, and as you saw, Iona won very easily. But going into the Monmouth game could have been a chance for Monmouth to come back and play better after being embarrassed by Iona on their home floor. But something strange happened, and I think it really is a credit to, again, Coach Kluse and his staff. This team rallied around each other and was ready to take on Monmouth as a total team effort. And if you look at the game itself, really, good start by both teams, back and forth, exchanging leads, etc. But for Iona to be able to hang tough in the early part of a game and show signs that they are there to compete was really what set them on a course to be able to win this game. Good performances, certainly by A.J. early, certainly by Isaiah again, who came out and did what he had to do. Although Jordan was in and out of the game, he had some very important parts of the game, taking some charges and being able to defend. And then Aaron Roundtree, Jihad Proctor, Ricky McGill, and Ibn Muhammad at a certain stretch during that game, with A.J. on the bench, with Isaiah on the bench, with Jordan on the bench, really held the fort for Iona and didn't allow Monmouth to take advantage of the younger team and a different type of team that Iona's used to, didn't allow them to take advantage. And then as you go into the second half, it really was a will of who wanted to win it the most. And whenever Monmouth made a great run, you had someone on Iona respond. You had Isaiah Williams respond with that 4-point play right in front of the Iona bench, big time. You had A.J. English respond with backing his man in, making that shot you spoke about to give them a 4-point cushion with under a minute and a half to go. And then you have the elder statesman, Mr. Roundtree, getting some fantastic rebounds, some great block shots, and just being a force in the middle of the floor. Those things, along with all the other things that occurred during the game with hustle and great play, really put Iona on a course to come away with that victory. And it was not a fluke to me. And frankly, the best team won.
Well, it certainly was a very competitive game, and Iona just really showed character and poise down the stretch. Very few mistakes, took advantage of their opportunities, and just that maybe a little extra depth. You mentioned Jahad Proctor going in, adding energy to the game. Aaron Roundtree made good plays, and of course Jordan Washington came up with one of his best games of the year with 15 points. And Deshani Mush, made critical baskets down the stretch, and he looks like he's really could be the signature player for Iona in the future years, and we'll look forward more from Deshani going forward. But just the team came together. It seemed to me they had just a little bit more depth than they had even in some of the past years when they lost the 2 championship games to Manhattan. They just were able to rotate a little bit more, give their players just a little bit of extra breathers on the bench, but it all fit together. And wow, what an exciting moment it was! And I know you were there courtside when the buzzer went off and Iona claimed its MAC championship.
Well, it was a great feeling. Let me not forget to mention the fact that Taylor Bessick came back, and in the Siena game, when Siena went on a run, ended up getting 2 or 3 block shots that were really, really critical with Aaron and Jordan on the bench in foul trouble. So he needs to get some recognition. But it was exciting. It was so exciting when the final horn went off and Iona was able to celebrate a hard-fought victory, a long year, a lot of injuries, just a lot of adversity to fight through. But man, it was so rewarding to see the tears in their eyes and the celebration on behalf of from everyone from Dr. Nair, down to John Kiggins, the manager. Everybody was just extremely happy, and I couldn't be happier for them and proud of them, more proud of them than I am, because they represented Iona the right way, and they were gracious in winning also. I had paid close attention to the line shaking hands with the Monmouth players after the game, and I saw Coach Kluse spend a couple of minutes with Coach Rice, and it seems like Coach Rice was gracious in defeat, but more importantly, Coach Kluse and his staff and the team, was very, very good, in winning, and I think that says a lot about the leadership that they have.
Absolutely, and I think it's going to be a budding rivalry for Iona and Monmouth years going forward, because I know from listening to Coach Rice over the last year or two, he's there for the long term to make them a very competitive program, and you look at others, Jimmy Patso is kind of saying the same thing. So the MAC's really got some very competitive programs up the top. Manhattan's going to be back in the future, and Fairfield had a much improved season. So MAC has got some programs that have built over the last couple of years and developing into a very competitive league going forward. Some great coaches. Now, Iona on Sunday night, there'll be a nice gathering of alumni and students and players here to watch the NCAA selection show. I've been to a couple of those over the years, and boy, there's nothing better than when you get to relax and see where you're going to play, and you're not on the bubble worrying if you're going to get your name called. You know your name's going to get called somewhere along the line, and we'll see where they head to. How do you see the NCAA tournament setting up this year? It's so competitive, and for the mid-major schools, winning a game or two is kind of the big, objective. We've seen teams do that in the past. Manhattan Notably, remember they beat, I think it was Oklahoma a few years ago in a first-round game, and Iona's always played its first-round games tough. How do you see the NCAA tournament setting up for this year for Iona and the other kind of mid-major schools that'll participate?
Well, I think where they play does matter. You have a lot of the powers that get the benefit most of the time of playing in a region that's close to them so they can have their fan base. It would be great if Iona could play at the Barclays. If that happened, I tell you, the Iona fans would come out, support them, and I wouldn't be surprised if Iona were able to beat a very good team. I think the seeding this year is going to have a lot to do with it as well. My opinion, Iona, should be seeded pretty well because the MAC showed this year that they had teams capable of beating other powerhouse teams. And so hopefully Iona will get, a reasonable seed, not anything, ridiculous like 16, 15, 14, 13, whatever. Hopefully they'll get something like a 10. You never know. But I know that it won't matter who they play or where they play. They'll be happy to be there. And, speaking to Coach Klus today, they're going to get back to work tomorrow and prepare for, going into the tournament with the idea of winning. Being part of the Iona team that did win a tournament game, it's a great feeling to be able to win, take a day off, and know you're going to play another day. And I would hope that this team and expect this team to have that mentality, not just be happy that you're there. Now it's time to go try to win a game, and I know Coach Klus and his staff will have them ready to do that.
And it's such a big opportunity for Iona as an institution. The visibility it'll generate from playing in the NCAA tournament. Because Iona is representing New York City, they tend to get a very good TV slot because the network's always trying to get the New York viewership watching. I remember one year they had a prime time, I think it was a Friday night when they played Mississippi in an NCAA game, and so we'll see where they get. But I know that the networks favor on TV any schools from the New York area, and I guess we'll see probably Seton Hall in the tournament. Anyone else from the metropolitan area have got a shot at it?
Well, if Stony Brook wins tonight, they'll have a shot. Hofstra lost their shot by losing to UNC Wilmington. So I would say those are the three local teams. Stony Brook needs to take care of business. But right now it's Seton Hall and Iona. And frankly, good luck to everybody else. But we are concerned and worried about the Gales being able to play. And you're right. Hopefully they'll give them an ability to play in a time slot that's good. But also hopefully they don't send them out to Arizona to play Arizona. That wouldn't be good. But nevertheless, the Gales are happy to be there. Again, go play, have some fun, and like Coach Klus says all the time, take it one game at a time.
Well, maybe they'll play on Thursday on St. Patrick's Day, and the Iona delegation in the New York St. Patrick's Day Parade will just simply take the subway over to the Barclays Center for a night game, and wouldn't that be something if that happened to work out? But just a special time. I mean, you've played in the NCAA tournament. It's so exciting. It ends so quickly. I've been to my share of games, and it's exciting, and then it's over. But it's it's that shining moment that they talk about in the NCAA song, but it's creates lasting memories, not just for for the players, but also for the cheerleaders, for the band, for the student managers and student reporters who go. So it should be fun, and so we'll look forward to that. I know you'll be courtside for us wherever Iona plays in the NCAA tournament, so we'll look forward to keeping up with you on how this opportunity shapes up. It's going to be fun Sunday night here at Iona to watch the selection show with the players and all the alumni.
Well, let me just also say that the Iona fans really showed up in Albany. I think there were 4 bus loads that came up. So I know the Gales were very happy and appreciative of that. The cheerleaders, the dance team did a phenomenal job supporting both teams in the tournament this weekend. But I want to give a special shout out to the Iona band. And there was probably 10 of them. But let me tell you, it meant an awful lot for them to be able to perform and show a lot of spirit for Iona. So just want to thank them for coming as well, and hopefully they'll get a chance to come support the Gales no matter where they go.
Yeah, we have a video of Van playing on Sunday night. Yeah, they're a new organization, so they're still building their numbers, but the core group, they had about 10 musicians, as you said, Kevin, really did a nice job. We have a video of them performing Sunday on our page, Iona College Basketball Report, and also we had a little segment out on Twitter on our @Suns Legion Radio. So, Kevin Hamilton, this is exciting. Wow, what a day for Iona basketball on Monday. One of the best days in Iona College basketball history. 2 MAC championships and 2 teams going to the NCAA tournament, so it's going to be fun.
Well, I'm very proud of them, both coaches, Coach Gotzi and Coach Klus, and both of their staffs. Congratulations, fantastic job. Now on to winning a tournament game, because they have the type of teams that are very capable to do it, and all Gale Nation support them.
Okay, and we'll look forward to Sunday night and seeing where the men's team will play, and then Monday we'll find out where the women's team will play in the big dance in the NCAA tournament, and it's going to be fun for them and everybody associated with Iona College here in New Rochelle. So we'll be back next week with a little prep once we know where the teams are playing. And for Sons of the American Legion Radio, this is Ken Kreitzer. We're a program of Squadron 135 in White Plains, New York, part of the 300,000-member Sons of the American Legion, helping America's veterans, all part of the American Legion, the world's largest veterans organization. So it's NCAA time, so it's going to be fun. Have a great day. Take care.
Go Gales.